I know it's been a while since we last did one of these Hot Toys Market Watch videos, so let's just jump right into it. I had a lot of people asking me about this in the comment section, so thank you all. I read your comments, and I saw that you guys are asking for it, so let's jump right into it. This is 6 Scale Economist. What is going to welcome to another video? This is 6 Scale Economist. In today's video, we're going to be doing another Hot Toys Market Watch. I think this is our third one that we're doing. So in these videos, we just take a look at some of the sold listings on eBay. I give my thoughts on what I think is happening right now in the market, what trends we're seeing, and maybe if we can use that to do some type of predictive analysis on what we think is coming for the future. So let's just jump right into it. The first one that really caught my eye. Now look, it doesn't take a genius to realize that Star Wars is obviously in the spotlight right now. So Marvel is going to take a beating, but when you see these things, the things that you want to do is you want to take a look at, you want to keep track of the most important core figures to the Marvel collecting universe. Your Spider-Man Homecomings, your Iron Man suits, a couple of Civil War figures. And so when those start to bleed, that's not a good sign for the Marvel universe. Some of the sold listings on the Iron Man Mark 46 are astounding. Now, again, some of this is actually idiosyncratic because it's affected by the Mark 47 release, and it's like I mentioned before, like Mark 46 release, same silhouette as Mark 47. Mark 47 getting reissued is obviously going to hurt the Mark 46. If you have anybody that has the Mark 46 and they see the Mark 47, they're like, wow, I really like this brand new figure I can get at retail. It looks just like my Iron Man Mark 46, and my Mark 46 is going for $700 on eBay. Let me just go sell that Mark 46 and go get this brand new Mark 47. And so what happens when you do that? Obviously, supply picks up. In the secondary market, prices go down. $450 on bid. Now, this one only had one bid, but this is crazy. That's super low for this figure. This figure peaked at like $750, $800 like two and a half months ago. $510. So it seems like his market is really around like $515, which is the lowest I've seen Mark 46 in, I don't know, a year maybe. Some of these obviously are going to be higher, but just the fact that some of these are selling for $500 is very convincing. $500, $550. That's the concept art. This is Australia, $550. So between $500, basically $500 mids for this figure. That's pretty low. But it's not just Marvel that's getting hurt. It's like I mentioned with Mandalorian and Clone Wars figures, it's gonna hurt Star Wars as well. There's just too many good figures coming out at retail for people to justify having a $700 figure in their collection when they can sell it and get 2.5 new Hot Toys. Darkside Anakin continues to bleed. As we know, this peaked at about $750. What are we in October? That was in July, August. This figure peaked around $750. Has since been trending downwards. Obviously, the Clone Wars announcement of Anakin didn't help it. But selling on eBay for $450, that means it's selling on Facebook for probably $425, $400-ish. I haven't seen anyone list it for even $400, maybe $415 on Facebook. They still get scooped up pretty quick, but that's obviously very low for this figure. So this figure has been bleeding a bit, which is expected. Shout out to 6 Scale Scavengers. This was Brian's listing. This one didn't come with the original base that comes with it, but still, even $435, Brian is also going to get better execution because he's a more well-established person. A lot of people in the community are familiar with 6 Scale Scavengers, so they're more comfortable buying them from eBay. But I could have seen, I'm surprised it even went for this much without the original display stand. I think if it wasn't Scale Scavenger selling that one, it would have gone for even lower. So it's crazy how much some of these are going for. A complete Darkside Anakin going for $450 is low. Jyn, she basically peaked at $425. She never really passed, really she peaked at $500, and then she was $500 for probably 3 weeks, and then kind of came back down, settled in the $400 area. Now she's kind of struggles to get over $400. She's more of a $350 figure now. Rogue One, there's no more Rogue One figures coming. Largely that's expected. And then again, to just not sound like a broken record, but it's the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian figures coming out that just makes so many of these figures trending so high in the secondary market correct in price. As a new collector, you no longer have to come into the market and reach for a Jyn Erso that you missed, and pay $500, but you can just go get a Clone Wars, Ahsoka at retail. Emperor. Deluxe Emperor set. Finally, getting over 400. This is a great set. It's just kind of just the natural tendency for figures. 9 months to a year after they sell out is when you really want to pay attention to it and see, where it's kind of peaking, where its price is really looking like. This figure for a while sat at like $350, $325. Very similar to what Count Dooku did. Count Dooku ranged from like $300 to $340 for about the first 6 months he's been sold out. Has since gone up. Emperor starting to do the same, going above $400. That's supportive for the secondary market. He is an important character. I don't think he's worth over $400 though. If I was a new collector, I wouldn't go pay $400 for this set. But obviously he's a very important character that's hard to like reproduce or like reissue. So, what could hurt this guy? A Revenge of the Sith version, but like they're so different that I don't think it would really be a problem for this one. But the Revenge of the Sith one would be awesome. This one I just wanted to highlight because I think it's funny. To the people who can't wait, I hope it's none of my subscribers who can't wait for their Mandalorian figure to come out. Some people I've seen pay up to $400 for this figure. Now this is from Hong Kong, so I always discount those listings, but like, $270, like this figure is available for retail. $320, just wait. You can wait a little bit longer. We've waited long enough. Don't reach for this figure, but I think this is just a funny listing to highlight. There's not really too much, read through on this one. Still in stock on Sideshow. Count Dooku, still trending well. Coming off a bit though. Certainly coming off a bit. I've noticed it on Facebook. I've seen a decent amount of people listing this guy, selling it for like willing to take like $320, $330, $340. For a while, about 2 weeks ago, there was like a 3-week span where he was pushing through $400 and people were paying it. He's since come down a bit. You do see people listing this guy brand new on Facebook and selling for like $320. Granted, it goes quite quick. I haven't messaged a couple of people and I just tell them like, hey, I'm not really interested in buying. I'm just trying to keep track of the market. Like, did you sell this already? How many people like reach out to you? And usually they're pretty friendly. Like, oh yeah, no problem. Like, had a couple people reach out, like sold it like yesterday. Had it up for like a day. So, this is a great figure, on dips, on market dips. This is a figure that I would want to pick up if I was a new collector. If you can get this guy brand new for $300, I think it's definitely a scoop. Obviously we have Django coming out, which is going to be very supportive for this figure. Granted, he's not coming out for 2 years, but if you want to do the long-term play, that's a great figure. Darth Maul has some higher sold listings. This guy, I've seen this guy before. I think it's like Hawks Toys or something. He gets really, really, really good execution. So you have to discount the prices that he sells it at. He's like, a more well-established brand, so people are willing to pay premium for his stuff because they know they can trust him. That's too much. What is this listing? I'm curious to get this. There's no way this isn't a 500+ figure yet for sure. Why? Who paid this? Who paid this? Brand new, unsealed, undamaged. I don't know. Somebody paid too high for that one. I guess you have to discount the outliers. But in general, this month, like this figure has basically been like $320. He's kind of been there for a while. I think that as we start to see Qui-Gon get released, that's going to be supportive for this figure. But obviously, what's countering this figure and what's keeping it from continuing to rise is we have the Clone Wars version. The solo one is shipping now, and we have the Clone Wars version that got announced. So I think that a lot of people are going to pick up that version. Jumping to another Marvel figure, Civil War Scarlet Witch. She is untouched by Marvel moves. This is a figure that I always like to keep my eye on as, probably I think it might be the best Marvel figure that is not an Iron Man in the secondary market. This figure continues to amaze me. $650, $700. She's not that liquid. She doesn't sell that often, but, the last most recent U.S. seller was, October 3rd, so the beginning of the month, $650. And I will see people post this one for $550, $600 on Facebook, and someone will buy it. I don't think I fully get it. I would absolutely not pay that much for this figure. And also, she's getting her own show. This is a figure, if you own this figure, I think you just need to do some serious self-evaluation. Really ask yourself, do I really need this figure? Because remember, keeping this figure if you own it is basically like rebuying it for whatever it's going for in the secondary market now. Because you could sell it and then, take that money. So like, it's basically like you paid $650 for the Scarlet Witch because you could sell it right now for $650. So if you own this figure, with the TV show coming out and everything. Now, I'm not saying that this figure is going to drop. I think that this figure just is like very scarce, so that's very helpful for this figure. But this is one that if I owned, I would definitely take my money on this one and run and reinvest it into some brand new like retail Hot Toys that I like more. Like this is almost 3 Hot Toys sitting in your bedroom. that you could take profits on. Now, that being said, like, I don't think there's any rush. I don't really see a reason for this to drop too much in the near term, especially because we've already seen the Marvel hype die down, and this figure has basically been unaffected. Gladiator Thor, one we talked about on one of the last market watches. He's just not that liquid, so you don't really see that many sold listings on. Most of these are the same sold listings that we saw in the last video. But again, in Facebook, I see this one get listed for $300. That's low for this figure. He hasn't really recovered much, and he's basically settled there around 300. Some people selling it for like 280. So even I've, potentially considering picking that up. This is a great Marvel figure and a good one to keep your eye on. Shoretrooper, absolutely resilient. $680, 56 bids, plus $22. Whoever bought this paid over $700 for this Shoretrooper. This guy does not care about market movements. Darkseid Anakin, much more affected by market movements. Why? Supply. This figure was just so undersupplied that so many people have Darkseid Anakin, and so many people were willing to sell Darkseid Anakin in the $600, $700 area, take their profits, pre-order the Clone Wars Anakin. Obviously, Anakin has reissues affecting it, but Shoretrooper, the power of lack of supply is mind-numbing. This guy just stays. He just stays at $700, $650 on eBay, $575 on Facebook. He will get sold at $575 in Facebook groups. This bid, though, this is incredible. This is powerful. Again, if you own a Shoretrooper, I would consider selling it, but I also don't think there's any rush, because if he's not going down right now, with the rest of the Star Wars market kind of hurting a little bit, in the Hot Toys secondary market as a whole, that just shows that this guy is basically has no beta risk to the rest of the market. This is a great figure that if you own it, maybe take your profits, and just know that if he for some reason shows up in The Mandalorian Season 2, sell as fast as you can. Get out of it. Take all the profits that you can get on it, and if we see a Hot Toys version of him in from The Mandalorian Season 2, that's going to be absolutely crippling for this figure. And you have no downside in selling it there, because you're selling it at the highs. If you see Mandalorian Season 2, list it as long as the market doesn't get flooded with Shoretroopers. Take your profits, and then who knows? Maybe if Hot Toys decides that they're not even going to do a reissue, even if he is in The Mandalorian Season 2, you can just buy it back. But this is crazy. Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, another good one to always keep your eye on. He peaked at when Darkseid Anakin was peaking at 700. Obviously, this one is a pair trade, so they trade very much in unison. So when Darkseid Anakin was 750, this guy was 550. So that's its peak. He's come down a decent bit, selling on bid for 355. I still think that's a little bit too low. But it still doesn't mean that you should be picking it up, because we still have the Clone Wars Obi-Wan to get officially announced. And once that guy gets announced, it's only going to hurt this figure more. This is an absolutely awesome figure. I'm never selling my Darkseid Anakin or my Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan. I think they look awesome, but this one has unfortunately been affected by the entire market of Star Wars Hot Toys. Last one I want to talk about, Director Krennic. Director Krennic getting to almost $400 in the secondary market. Very similar to what happened with the Mud Trooper. They just get price corrected. These ones are definitely definitely hurting from the Clone Wars and Mandalorian figures, and so he's come down a bit, basically resettling at around $300. I see people list him on Facebook groups for $300. He'll sell for $300. But in general, this one is kind of tough. If you own this one, I own it. I have no intention of selling it. I really like it. But if this is the only Rogue One figure in your collection, or maybe you have this in a Jyn Erso or something, it's tough, but it's an awesome figure. So it's one that I definitely have not considered selling, and I'm going to keep in my collection, but it absolutely has been hurt by the, Mandalorian and Clone Wars crave. Alright, that's going to wrap up today's video for the Market Watch. I think a relatively quick one. I didn't look at the time, maybe 10 minutes. Super fun. I love doing these videos. Let me know in the comment section if you guys enjoy these videos. I'm trying to do it once every 1 to 2 weeks. I think this one is probably closer to 2 weeks. The market just doesn't move that much. It's not like the stock market where, we're analyzing it every single day. But I think they're super interesting. If you guys like this type of video, just let me know in the comment section down below. I'll make sure to keep doing this playlist. But as always, this is 6 Skill Comments by the Dip, Sell the Rip. This is the way we'll see you in the next video.